Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be checking out what has potentially become the heart of my studio, or at least made my life a little bit more easier. It is this freaking beast here. It is the Arturia Audiofuse XA In. Freaking amazing. Really love this little guy here, and I'm going to explain to you how this is going to make your life a lot easier in the studio. So whether you're a musician, a producer, an engineer, or just a gear enthusiast alike, I think you're going to love the Audiofuse XA In. Anyway, I'll show you how I've got it connected in my studio and how it can make your life much easier, and just how easy this thing is to set up. All right, let's check it out. You're on Emlyn and Mix. Boom. All right, firstly, this is what I've done to connect the Audiofuse XA into my studio. So essentially, I've ran all the outputs on my synthesizers here into the Audiofuse XA In, which is acting as a satellite, and I'm running a light pipe cable, ADAT cable, light pipe, whatever you want to call it, back into my main audio interface, which is actually the Audiofuse 16 rig, which is behind me here. And it's amazing because the Audiofuse XA essentially acts as a little satellite, and I can plug all my synths in here, keep all my audio cables in one area. Now, what's really cool about having the ADAT cable is that if you had a long enough one and you wanted to, say, put your synthesizers into a completely different room in your house, you could do that essentially as long as you had a long enough cable, and you'd still get high fidelity sound back into your computer from a very far away length or a very far away room. You'd still get high fidelity audio over the ADAT cable, which is incredible because that's like 30-40-year-old technology now. Optical still sounds amazing, and that's essentially how I've got it connected in the studio. Yeah, so I've got all my favorite synthesizers stacked up on top of each other here with all the audio cables going down the back, and then they are running into the back, 4 stereo channels or 8 inputs into the back of the Audiofuse XA In. And then I'm just running that ADAT cable from the output of the Audiofuse XA In into the input of the optical fiber ADAT cable input of the Audiofuse Rig 16. So it really is just acting as an extension of additional inputs, but it's placing it in another area. I know for my studio it's a little bit small, and you might be thinking, why would you do that? But it really does make things a lot neater. Trust me, when you've got this many cables, this many synthesizers going, you want to make as less of a clutter as humanly possible. And I believe the Audiofuse XA In has actually helped me with this issue of having to run cables around everywhere. And it also gives me options. I could have this little Audiofuse XA In just operate as a satellite. If I want to move everything, it's going to be much easier to move this whole stack of synthesizers here and move the audio interface, as opposed to having to unplug everything from the Audiofuse 16 rig here. In my opinion, this thing makes life way easier. This is literally a game changer for larger studios who like to isolate instruments like in another room, or say they're hiring a space. You could have this little expansion here connected via the ADAT cable into your main audio interface, and you could just be like having instruments off way further. I know I said this before, but this is game-changing technology right here. And I think at the end of the day, what this is doing is it's keeping your main workspace clutter-free, help you clean up your studio environment whilst keeping that pristine audio quality, because that's what you want if you're working in the studio. Now let's talk about ease of use. The Audiofuse XA isn't just about connections, it's about control. The Audiofuse Control Center software is a dream to work with. It lets me manage all my inputs and outputs with just a few clicks, and setting up cue mixes for different musicians is super straightforward, and I can even route signals directly through the software. Yeah, so why do I love the Audiofuse XA In so much? I think it's just the fact that it carries pristine audio quality over, like, even though it's a short distance for me, but even though it can do it over a long distance, that really won me over because of its versatility in the studio. It just makes it freaking rock. And literally there's no kickback for me. I just want to let you know there's absolutely no kickback for me other than Arturia letting me check this unit out here today. So shout out to Arturia for letting me check this thing out and letting me try how I could actually implement this into my studio. Yeah, so whether I'm recording bands or just laying down some quick ideas with these synthesizers here, the Audiofuse XA In just handles it with ease. I've used this in so many different scenarios, from tracking vocals and guitars to running MIDI gear and external effects. and every time it's delivered crystal clear sound with absolutely zero latency. All right, there you have it. Just a quick look at how I've got the Audiofuse XA In implemented into my studio. Just here with this wall of synthesizers, all the outputs going directly into the Audiofuse XA In inputs, and then I'm running ADAT cable back to my main audio interface. It's made life super simple, and if you're thinking about upgrading or you want to make life a little bit simpler in the studio with your cables, then I cannot recommend the Audiofuse Audiofuse XA in enough. Now, Arturia did give me the Audiofuse XA Out, which I'm still trying to figure out how to implement this into my studio. But what is great about this is I can essentially have all of the input from, say, my instruments here running over an ADAT cable into the Audiofuse XA Out, and then I could actually hook up like an external hardware effect, like a pedal or something like that, and route that back to my main audio interface. Now, it's getting a little bit complicated at that point, so I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to implement this into my studio. But again, this is going to make life so much simpler because you don't have to run heaps of cables to and from your pedals. You can have them literally just going into this via ADAT. And yeah, I'm really excited to get this hooked into the studio. I haven't done it yet, but shout outs to Arturia for letting me check this one out as well. I'm still yet to implement this. We'll do a future video on this, I'm sure, once I figure out how to get this implemented into the studio. But yeah, I just wanted to let you guys know I have this one here as well. And yeah, leave a comment down below if you want to see more of the Audiofuse X8 in and out, and we'll do a video on this one a bit later. All right, thanks so much for watching today, guys. Make sure to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed this content, and consider hitting subscribe if you're not subscribed already and you want to see more awesome gear reviews like this on the Emlyn in the Mix channel. We cover all music technology, software and hardware, you name it. And if you have any questions, leave a comment down below and we'll get to answering your questions. And until next time, guys, thanks so much for joining me and happy recording. Boom.